A god of the game, or a degenerate furry in disguise? We have all met either of those because we've had plenty of time to play NightReign by now. Each NightFairer tells us a metric buttload about those of us who play it, and even my favorite class is a lot about the person willing to main it. So join me as I tell you what each class in NightReign says about us mentally unstable people who play the game. Alright, let's kick things off with the Revenant, because what better place to start than with the class that has the strongest, I would literally die without my emotional support undead energy. You picked Revenant. Ah yes, the class equivalent of texting your ex at 2 AM while playing Evanescence in the background. The kind of person who saw summon 3 creepy undead to protect you and said, finally, a class that understands my need for family. Nothing is stronger than family, unless it's Revenant's shield bubble and Helen's poke damage. But let's be honest, if you're playing Revenant, you didn't pick her because of the utility. You picked her because a vampire girl with claws wasn't on the roster. You saw this pale, ghostly woman floating through the shadows with skeleton boyfriends at her side, and your inner goth girl obsession lit up like a bonfire in 𝐜𝐨. And the real kicker, Revenant mains love getting others to do the work for them. Whether it's the other 2 players carrying them through a boss, or Helen, Frederick, and Barry the Third doing all the killing. You're basically just there for the vibes. And those vibes, black eyeliner, scented candles, and a playlist titled My Haunting Era. Now let's talk about her ult, which is technically designed to revive down teammates, but instead of waiting for the right moment to save the squad, Revenant mains, much like that guy who can't hold his own, will absolutely blow their ghostly load the second someone thinks about going down. Like bro, you had one job. We had 1 bar, not 3, to slap the shit out of me. Now we're all back at the round table, and you're over there pretending like it was a calculated play. And finally, if none of that describes you, if you're sitting there going, nuh-uh, I'm different, then congratulations. You're just playing Revenant for the fantasy of being the haunted queen with 3 big brothers guarding her at all times. Helen's the leader, Frederick's the quiet one with trauma, and Barry the Third, Barry, that guy, you have to be careful for he's a real biter. And as 𝐜𝐨𝐬𝐿 once said, be careful, he has no gag reflex. Now, if Revenant is the quiet, floating goth girl that haunts your dreams and revives your sorry-ass teammates, then our next class is the exact opposite, because this one doesn't haunt dreams, she stars in them. When it comes to the Recluse, there are only 2 words we need to say, Tim Titties though. Let's not beat around the spectral bush here, this is the big titty goth girl class. While Revenant is the sad Victorian doll you find crying in a graveyard, Recluse is the forbidden librarian who just hexed your whole bloodline and still hasn't put her staff down. And you dear viewer, chose her. Which means we need to talk. Recluse mains are the type of people who like the idea of power, but from a distance. You want to feel superior. You want to stand on a cliff, 1 boob exposed to the night wind, and cast spells that make enemies melt, while your teammates are too busy dying to ask why you haven't moved from that goddamn rock in 20 minutes. This is the class that lets you be a menace with a mix of spells and ranged attacks. It's like playing support, but only if that means you can also nuke the final boss and pretend it was all team effort. You're basically a warlock, but with a fashion souls addiction. Let's be real, people who main Recluse fall into one of 2 camps. Either you've got mad boob envy and see Recluse as your power fantasy of what life could have been if you were blessed by the titty gods. Or you just really want to lay your head between those necrotic pillows and whisper, cast glimmering doom on me one more time, mommy. And before anyone says, I picked Recluse for the build variety and tactical options, let me stop you right there. You chose the class that wears less armor than a wet napkin and fires purple fireballs from her hips. You knew exactly what you were on about. But hey, no judgment. In NightReign, if you're going to go unhinged, you might as well do it in style. And Recluse mains, you're all the peak of unhinged elegance with cleavage. So you've cast your last sultry spell as the Recluse, and now you're looking for something with an edge. Not metaphorical edge like emotional damage, or edgy like your favorite dark-haired anime character, No, I mean literal katanas. Welcome to the Executor, baby, where the fur is matted, the parries are cracked, and every match is just a glorified episode of who missed the timing this time. Executor mains, oh boy. There are two types of Executor players, and both of them furries. In denial. You're not fooling anyone. You picked the big armored wolf samurai and told yourself, this isn't weird, and I just like precision gameplay. Bro, you're essentially playing a dual-wielding anime dog in crucible armor. You've already lost that battle. Let's start with the first type. You are terrifying. You're the guy parrying every boss like it's a rhythm game, and halfway through the fight, your teammates stop attacking just to watch you work. Seriously, what are you even doing in NightReign? You belong in Sekiro, making poor Genshiro cry on loop while drinking black coffee and refusing to blink. You're cracked. You're helpful. You even aggro the boss without whining about it. We love you. You're still a furry, but we still love you. Now the second type.
Oh, brother, this guy stinks!
The tragedy, the embarrassment. You watched the Executor trailer once and decided, yeah, I can time things. Spoiler warning, you can't. You have never timed a single parry in your life. The enemy winds up with like a slow softball pitch, and you still hit the button 3 seconds too early. Watching you play Executor is like watching someone try to play the piano by slapping it with a fish. You die, we revive you. You die again, we pretend to not see it. But trust me, we see it. You're the reason we're packing healing relics. You're the reason Revenant's ult goes off in the tutorial zone. Please fix your skill issue. And then there's the passive. Oh, the glorious trash fire of a passive. You have to heal yourself from a status effect to activate a buff. What? You mean to tell me I gotta get poisoned, then spend not only time, but an item to remove said status effect, just to unlock a small damage boost? Who designed this? Why is my reward for nearly dying that I get to hit slightly harder for a few seconds? And yet, Executor mains will defend that passive like it's the holy grail. Bro, like it's actually really good in the right build. No, it's not, Derek. Stop lying to yourself. The only thing that passively builds is our disappointment in you. But despite all this, you stick with him. Because deep down, you don't want to play the game. You want to style on the game. You want to be the lone wolf swordsman with the tragic backstory and the flawless technique. Unfortunately, you're actually just a guy who rolled a furry with a broken mechanic and a parry fetish. You know what? That's okay. Just maybe sit a few fights out until you can land a parry, even once, please. So maybe you tried parrying as Executor and realized your timing is garbage and your reflexes are powered by Wi-Fi lag. It's okay, there's still hope for you. Hope, in the form of a giant armored bird. Because up next is the class that said, you know what Elden Ring was missing? More poultry. Let's talk about the Guardian. Now, yes, this class is technically a giant humanoid hawk in plate armor, but don't let that distract from the fact that the Guardian is just Big Bird if you went to war, a full-on fluff ball of steel and sadness. And look, I'm just gonna say it, Guardian mains are still fucking furries. You thought you could hide it, you said, he's not furry, he's a bird. Bro, that's like saying that people whose favorite Pokemon is Vaporeon don't have a problem. You guys are sick and you fucking know why. But what really defines Guardian players isn't the armor, or the feathers, or the fact that you flap around like a chocobo with trauma. It's the absolute delusion you bring to the table. Guardians, you guys should be called fucking lawyers, because you'll defend this class to your dying breath. Like you're on Reddit trying to prove that the earth is flat. Nah, brah. Guardian is actually S tier. Once you get the right relics online, and you fully unlock the Wabajok, and you time your shield counters perfectly, and align all 9 moon sigils under a blood eclipse. Right, and vaccines cause magnetism. Thanks, Greg. The truth is, Guardian sucks. At first. It's like playing the game on hard mode, Feathers Edition. You get clunky moves, underwhelming abilities, and the movement speed of a vending machine in a swamp. But Guardian mains, you embrace that suffering. You love that grind, because secretly, your other favorite game is Minecraft. You're not here for the combat, you're here to dig. Dig for the perfect relics, the perfect gear combo, the perfect moment where your Guardian finally feels good. And you can say, see, I told you he's viable. And everyone else is here like, bro, You've been grinding for 6 hours to do the same damage Wylder does out of the gate. But hey, there's a silver lining. Unlike those poor bastards who have to dress up in giant foam feathers and sweat through a mascot suit just to live out their big bird fantasies, you get to be Big Bird in full armor with a shield, living your best medieval avian life. Just don't expect us to revive you when you get stunlocked trying to posture punish a mini-boss that one-shots you anyway. You chose the bird bath of pain. Now, after watching Guardian players slowly evolve from a punching bag to a viable tank by way of Minecraft-level relic excavation, you might be thinking, what if I didn't want to suffer first and earn power later? Well, allow me to introduce you to the guy who said, screw subtlety, I'm going in. Say hello to the Wylder. If Batman stopped brooding, did 3 lines of powdered herb treat rude, and decided, yeah, fuck it bitch, I'm immortal, that's the Wylder. If the guy who base jumps without a parachute got fused with a rogue who only drinks energy drinks, named Pain Sauce, that's Wylder. If you've ever looked at a boss fight and thought, I bet I can solo this if I just screamed louder, congratulations, you're a Wylder main. Wylder players are the kind of person who always charge first, die first, and somehow come back to life still swinging. They don't strategize, they don't wait, they just drop kick the nearest enemy like they're trying to make rent with pure violence. You know that one guy in every group who jumps off the cliff before the cutscene finishes loading? That's Wylder. That's always fucking Wylder. They enter every combat situation with their dick out, metaphorically and sometimes spiritually. No shirt, no plan, no problem. But here's the twist. Somehow they make it look cool. Because just when you're about to write them off as a complete lunatic, they pull a full-on Aragon level play out of nowhere. You're down, the Executor is missing every parry, Guardian is face down with his ass in the air, and there's Wylder, standing alone, sword raised, wind blowing, camera panning. He just turns and says, "For Frodo," and charges headfirst into a wall of flaming nightmare monsters, and you know what? He wins. You don't know how, and neither does he, but it was epic. Wylder mains are adrenaline junkies with god complexes and the reflexes of a caffeinated squirrel. They live for the highlight reel, and every time they pop their ultimate, it's either a legendary victory or a clip you just saved to laugh at later. So if you're a Wylder main, respect. You're out here doing flips, throwing daggers, and catching hands like you're on a Red Bull commercial directed by Zack Snyder. Just maybe wait for the rest of us to catch up before you Leroy Jenkins your way into the next boss room. Now, after the chaos that is the Wylder, who fights like he just escaped from an asylum with a grappling hook, you might think, surely there's someone more grounded, more disciplined, less stabby. Well, there is. Meet the Raider, NightReign's answer to what if pre-workout was a person. Raider mains, you are the stoic wall of protein this game never asked for, but desperately needed. You're the Jorgen von Strangle of NightReign. You say 10 words per game, 6 of which are, "Where's the nearest gym?" and the rest are grunts of satisfaction after pulverizing a mini-boss with one swing. Oonga boonga bonk. You're not a wimpy caster or a dodging queen. You're here to punch things into the shadow realm. If your active skill isn't an uppercut that sends your enemies into low orbit, you're not interested. If your great sword doesn't sound like a cathedral bell every time it lands, you want to install. Raider mains treat every fight like it's their anime protagonist arc. You walk into a boss arena like a wandering warrior in search of the next strong enemy. You can be surrounded by enemies, Wylder's flipping out, Recluse is casting fire tornadoes, but you lock eyes with the biggest, baddest threat in the room and you say, "You, me, now." No distractions, no gimmicks, just pure, honorable, one-on-one trauma delivery. Your life goal is simple. Get bigger, hit harder, fight stronger enemies, and do it shirtless if possible. You see a new boss and immediately go full Goku. I hear that you're strong, let's fight. Meanwhile, your squad's getting wiped by ads, and you're busy dueling the map bosses alone on the opposite side of the map. You are emotionally unavailable, physically unstoppable, and nutritionally oversupplemented. If your relic doesn't scale with rage, you throw it away. If your weapon isn't leveled massive, heavy, or two-handed and soul-crushing, you're not touching it. You don't need fancy mechanics, you need the thrill of that massive impact. And that's why we love you. Because when the time comes, when the music swells, and when the shadows deepen, and that boss starts unleashing its final form, there's the Raider, standing alone, muscles glistening, axe ready, whispering, "Finally, a worthy challenge." So while the Raider is off delivering one-liner beatdowns like a walking protein shake, there's always that one person in the group rolling their eyes in silent judgment, the dodging queen. The one who thinks if she gets touched, it's your fault. Yes, darling, it's time we talk about the Duchess. If you main the Duchess, you are, without a doubt, the tsundere of your friend group. Cold, calculating, perfect dodges, you strut around in your aristocrat murder hills acting like everyone else is beneath you. And maybe you're not wrong. Your dodges are crisp and your style is immaculate, and you hit like a velvet-wrapped guillotine. But let's be real, that icy front, it's a facade. Underneath all that dodging, dagger flipping is a tiny heart full of anxiety that whispers, "Please don't hit me, I'm fragile." And sure, you'll act like you don't need help. You'll dodge 5 attacks in a row like a smug little aristocrat that you are, doing your whole peasant routine. But then the boss clips you once, just one little slap, and you go full anime damsel face down on the floor like, "It's not like I needed your help or anything, baka." That's when the Raider has to lumber over and revive you like some kind of anime bodyguard, while you're lying there pretending to be unconscious so no one sees the tears. And let's not forget that ultimate, the perfect Duchess tool. You get overwhelmed, boom, invisibility. Not just to escape, no, that's just surface level. You go invisible to hide your feelings. Boss got too real, team didn't compliment you on your dodges, someone asked you to share loot, poof, you vanish, you're gone. A puff of emotional mist and 𝐜𝐴𝐻𝐿ed angst. Duchess mains are masters of performance, on the battlefield and in the group chat. You dodge, you slice, you gaslight, you gatekeep, and you girl boss your way through every dungeon like it's your throne room. And honestly, respect. You're an insecure, overpowered, emotionally repressed aristocrat with a superiority complex and a dodge roll addiction. But at least you're consistent. Just remember, when you get smacked across the arena and cry invisible tears, we see you. We always see you. So after the Duchess twirls out of sight like a brooding anime noble who just got her fifis hurt, you might think, well, that was peak evasiveness. But no, dear viewer. There is one who dodges not with just a singular skill, but with skills in the plural sense. A player who won't roll away from danger, they'll just mark you for death and let someone else deal with it. Enter the Ironeye. Ironeye mains are the life-saving sniper dads of the squad. You're always in the back watching the chaos, cool as a cucumber, never lifting a finger unless you absolutely have to. Your mark skill, yeah, better than a Duchess dodge. Why? Because it's not just a dodge, it's a "I saw that coming" and also "fuck you" button. You're not only evading the danger, you're also transferring the trauma to someone else, like it's a family tradition. But here's the real Ironeye experience. You're a guy who saves lives without ever admitting fault for the team wipe. It wasn't my fault. Boss got pulled early? We were gonna fight it anyway. Someone asks you why you're always 400 yards away on a cliff. Nah, I'm strategizing. Ironeye is the class where you can technically be correct and be completely useless at the same time. You're the overplanning nerd of the group. You got spreadsheets, you got maps. You set up your relics like it's a heist in a Christopher Nolan movie. And then what happens? You still get flattened by a mini-boss because you forgot to account for sudden fireball to the face. You're basically Ishida from Bleach if you gave up on the emotional maturity and decided to be a passive-aggressive life coach instead. You're precise, distant, kinda smug, somehow always fine while the rest of the party is literally in an inferno. "Oh, you guys are dead? That's wild. I'm over here at full health, so yeah, I'm out." And when the pressure does hit you directly, what do? Pop mark and dodge responsibly. Vanish into the distance with your anime scarf blowing in the wind like a disappointed Yorichi. But hey, despite all this, you're the guy who saves the run. You land that clutch mark, You ping the best spots on the map, and you heal the Guardian who's face first in the mud for 6 minutes. And somehow we forgive you, even though you're the one who got us into this fucking problem in the first place. So if you're an Ironeye main, own it. You're a long-range lifesaver with commitment issues and a superiority complex made entirely out of tactical graphs. Just maybe admit once that pulling the boss early was your damn fault. I mean, just once. And there you have it. 8 NightFairers, 8 flavors of unhinged, and 8 very specific personality disorders. Whether you're a Revenant summoning your ghost boyfriends like a haunted harem anime, the Recluse trying to vaporize enemies while pretending those spell-enhanced titties aren't the reason you picked her, the Executor furiously mashing parry while coping through failure, or the Guardian digging your way out of irrelevance one relic at a time. Well, maybe you're the Wylder who jumped off a cliff without asking, the Raider who thinks everything is a gym session, the Duchess pretending you don't need help while invisibly crying in a corner, or the Ironeye who always has a plan, except for when it matters. At the end of the day, one thing unites us all. We're all mentally unstable enough to play NightReign, and that makes us family. Dysfunctional, possibly cursed, but family. So if you found yourself called out, exposed, emotionally damaged, or just laughing through the pain, do me a favor, hit the like button. Slam the subscribe button harder than the Raider slams a mini-boss, and ring the bell so you never miss another roast, breakdown, or mildly unhinged video. We also got a Discord full of other broken NightFairer mains, just like you. And if you really want to support the channel, check out the membership, where we do exclusive breakdowns, extra content, possibly group therapy sessions for a Recluse player. Until next time, stay dodgy, stay dramatic. For the love of 𝐜𝐿, stop pulling the damn bosses early. Be good to each other. Peace.